Now we will be beginning the panel discussion on future jobs in Oman's oil and gas sector. I'll introduce the chairman of the panel. Very brief introduction, actually. Abdullah, you can introduce yourself further, and then let the speakers introduce themselves when they come onto the panel. Abdullah Mohammed Nasser Al Busaidi, he is the Energy and Mineral Sector Skills Unit Manager for the Oman Society for Petroleum Services, OPAL. Abdullah, please can you make your way to the stage and begin this panel session, please.
Assalamu alaikum. As'alullah sabahakum bi kulli khair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Amr just introduced me, my name is Abdullah Al Busaidi. I am a manager of the Energy and Mineral Sector Skill Unit at OPAL, Oman Society for Petroleum Development, for Petroleum. I forgot the name. I know, it's normally known as an OPAL, so that is why I don't memorize the full name. Anyway, I'm pleased, actually I'm honored to be among the panel today. Most of the time I'm sitting on the other side, where I am asked the question. Today, no, I will be asking the questions. However, I think you as an audience have the right as well to ask questions. So what we will do is, I will be asking questions. If someone has got any questions, please let us know so we'll make it more interactive. Please welcome, or can I ask, I have got Nasser Al Mahrooqi. Nasser, okay, can you just join us? Shall we sit on there? You want us to sit in there? Okay. Nasser, and I have got Mohammed Al Esry, and I have got Dr. Ram. Dr. Ram? شو shall we? حشا age. No, it's okay because we have to give one seat space. If you allow me to ask each one of you to introduce himself, please, shortly. Nasser.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's my pleasure being here today. And really, I'm not sure what will happen. The chairperson is very strict. Already, instruction has been coming up the way how we manage. But I think one of the areas where, myself and the chairperson have been chatting since last night is how we stimulate the discussion. We're not here to preach. We know something, and we believe at the time when the session is completed, we will gain much more so we can build an insight to understand the direction we're going. I work for PDO, and I lead an advanced data and analytics center within the subsurface community. My background is a telecom engineer. I work as a developer. 20 years ago, I decided to change my stream, and I moved into the business as in a petroleum engineering as a function. And I have been working very close with the ICT group to make sure that we create value in the organization through delivering digital solutions. Recently, about 2 months ago, I was appointed as an advisory committee for the IC development in Oman, reporting to His Excellency Dr. Ali Shidan under the Minister of Transport, Communication and Information Technology. And really, I invest a lot on digital economy in the areas of in-country value, how we stimulate the market, and we allow the creation of job opportunities, and also, the raising the GDP of the country, which really improved the life of the citizen. And recently, I was appointed to start looking into working together with the team to look into the future skills and glue together all the supply chain from academia, research and development, and the industry. That's a bit of an overview of myself. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mohammed Al Esry. I've been in the industry for almost 23 years. But anyway, I'm 25 years old. I have worked in large organizations like Schlumberger, MB Petroleum, Dalma Energy in the drilling operations. I've also worked in Oman and internationally. For those last 20 years, I've been working in different areas, which includes training and development, human resource operations, business development, and other fields, advisory to the CEOs and VP organization for health and safety in organizations. Last 2 years, I've worked in National Training Institute, NTI it's called. I've worked as an operation general manager before, and I also now taking over as the business development general manager. Also this year in September has been appointed by the Minister of Higher Education and the Secretary of Higher Education to be a member or part of the improvement team on vocation training. So I'm part of the member of it.
Thank you, Mohammed. Dr. Ram?
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah, and I would like to thank you for the opportunity by Arabian Business Bureau. I'm Dr. Ram from Majan University College. I'm assistant professor there, and I'm in Oman for the last 17, 18 years, I guess. Yeah, 17 years. And in academic field, I have a good experience in developing the programs and reviewing the programs for Ministry of Higher Education and Research and Innovation as a subject expert reviewer. I'm a reviewer in OEEE also. You are familiar with the OEEE, the standard accreditation body. And I'm a senior fellow in quality assurance, QAA from UK. That is a advanced search. It's called a senior fellow in Higher Education Academy. This is my basic introduction. Thank you.
Just very quickly, Abdullah,
Yes.
You mentioned about keeping the session interactive, and if anyone does have a question, they can raise their hand, and if you're happy to let them speak, my colleague Sayed, who should be around, has the microphone, and he can pass it on to them.
Thank you very much. During all my attendance for a lot of workshops and committees, and of course, even I'm talking about it as a starting point, through Tanfeed, it's always the focus about youth and Omanis and how can we enable Omanis. Now, through today itself, I heard a lot of dynamic and rapid change on the industry. I heard a lot of the future, or actually the fourth industrial revolutions. And for sure and for fact, there is always a link between the demand and a supply. And alhamdulillah, today I'm lucky. I don't know if, I know that you are very selective of selecting the panel members. I have got someone who is representing the industry. I've got someone who is representing the vocational training. And of course, I've got Dr. Ram, who is representing the academia side. So I will start with you, Nasser, if you don't mind. Now, in terms of the future skills, with the dynamic change of the skill set, and if we take the recent incident happened to all of us, which is the COVID-19. COVID-19 actually enforced us to work or behave differently than we used to. It's like working from home. It wasn't optional. In some period during last year and this year, it was mandatory that we have to work from home, meaning that there is a change on the skill set of the individual who is occupying a job. So if we reflect this on what is the industry anticipation of the future jobs within the oil and gas industry. Leave it to you, the mic, Nasser.
So that is really interesting. The COVID-19 has accelerated the journey on the adoption of digital technology. And there was not much of a changes from the skill set point of view. I would say more from the culture and adaptability of this type of technology. At the time when this was kicked off, especially somebody like myself has been working for many years in the industry where, and I still go to the office on a daily basis, and this shift changed it. It took a few days for me to understand, utilization of the tools like MS Teams or Skype and what. But I think that culture changes. It just drive the paradigm shift of people start looking in a different way, how we generate and we create value in the organization. And very important. But I think beyond that, if I go back into what are we doing today to prepare the workforce of today, which will be able to respond into the future. And in these areas, we focused a lot on upskilling and reskilling program. And also, we've got other dimensions. We say, what are the culture changes, the way how we do it. The skill set is eroding. You know, many people like myself, in a period of time where we retire, you get new people who are just joining in with the limited, you know, technical skills and so on. How do we bring the coaching, acceleration of the coaching? The coaching of today is not the coaching of the future. As most you're saying is, we want to coach people from a technical domain point of view, but also we need to bring the soft skills point of view, area like, you know, commercial mindset, entrepreneurial thinking, you know, communications, and so on. But we will continue the training, and why we call it Curriculum 4.0. But this Curriculum 4.0 is a different ways the way we want to do it today. We push more on the areas like online training. It's not a company-directed training. It is you guys to understand what are the business needs, what are the business objectives, how do we want to address and bridge the gap to address the needs of the business. That's why industry is there. We create value because we create solutions which really support and enable the business to deliver the value. And in doing so, that an ecosystem of a competencies framework which looks into the future, the culture changes, the coaching elements which really focus on 70-20-10. And when you say 70-20-10 program, the 70% is about you learning while you are doing it. It's not just going to the training center and being taught it. Because if you are taught how to use, you know, Python or any tools, in a period of time, if you do not exercise yourself, the whole skill tend to be eroded. And that's where really the focus. And I think one of the area where really I would emphasize it, this is a big animal. The fourth industrial revolution is a big animal. It has to be addressed it and chunked it based on the business need. And we will be learning while we do it, and when we learn it, we improve it. And the most important word you say is bring agility, the flexibility, addressing the uncertainties which we did not see it, and being able to embed part of our process as the continuous improvement. And this really, if you look as an industry, we focus a lot on upskilling and reskilling, but we are still working on a reactive mode. We will continue to upskill and reskill people for how long? That's where strategic partnership and the collaboration with research and development, academia, and the industry has to be addressed it from A to Z as an end-to-end process.
Thank you. So in brief, there is also a cultural change that we have to consider, even in the future job skill set, and even in the current one. And I have just mentioned that will not happen without a collaboration of all stakeholders. And among us, we have got, of course, academia and vocational. And of course, you have mentioned earlier on, before this session, you were talking about government. So also government has got a role to play on this. If I may address Dr. Ram, what is your view on such a thing and the pandemic? What kind of an outcome the academic observed through this pandemic and the change on the skill set?
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah and Mr. Nasser. Yeah, it's a well set information from the industry. We acknowledge that also. And further to that, we get the information from the Supreme Committee for Planning. Recently in 2019-20, they have come up with a collaboration with the World Economic Forum, and they found out the skill set required in Oman, especially I'm talking about Oman. Critical thinking skills, soft skills, of course, the transferable skills, and the knowledge about the disruptive technologies are the future kind of skills which are required in the industry. This is one side of the story, and the second is about, if you ask about the pandemic situation, that we have given an immediate response to the pandemic, that we went online immediately within a week of time. The closure was there, and we went to the online sessions, and there was a little bit disturbance, but the young generation guys, I have to be we have to be proud saying that they switch over to the technology. In fact, we are learning more from them and about the technology and the use of technology and the tools available. I think that we have to put them in the right track. That is where our challenges are there. Put them in the right track, give the right things what they are looking for so that we can proceed forward. So in a response to this, we can say that the skilled work, if you talk about the future skills in oil and gas industry, especially that the skilled works will be automated by the Industrial 4.0 and the existing workers has to be changed from skilled workers to knowledge workers. So they will be decision makers based on the data driven rather than doing something which is a recurring job. The recurring job is taken care by the robots and the machines with the help of that. So this is the way forward, I guess.
So if I'm getting it right, and correct me if I'm wrong here, even the delivery side of the education within the academy have changed. As you said, it used to be face-to-face towards now it is all online. Bear in mind, the still competency set you are looking or you are delivering the same skill set that is required by the industry. With the change of course, now most of the skill set that are required for the future is most towards automation-wise. Am I right in this, Doctor?
You are right, Mr. Abdullah, yes. Okay. As I told you, the technological tools are vast and it is rapidly increasing worldwide. And we have to grasp it and make use of it wherever it is adoptable and wherever suitable for our culture and way of doing it. For example, the technical challenge here is, it's not a cultural change here, is the student don't want to open the camera during the assessments and all. So we come up with, I'm just sharing my experience. We are forcing the girls especially to open the camera during the classroom. However, we ask them to type the questions and the chat box, and we are making the interaction by opening the mic. And guys are opening the camera and they are interactive with us directly. That is one thing. When the assessment comes, it is really a challenge. It may go the other way. I have to make sure that who is doing the assessment exactly. For that, we are having around 22 types of assessment strategies and assessment points here. So whichever possible, we are going. And in fact, all of the sessions are being recorded and kept for the quality assurance purpose. And we give the space for the girls, especially. We go by one-to-one assessments. I mean, we will ask the boys to be. In that, one problem is there. I'm frank with you that we are not able to provide the group dynamics.
Yes. Technology has its own
that one
limitation.
restriction, and it may go the other way. A little bit shy and
yes.
Cultural impact is there that
yes.
we cannot go beyond that.
Yes.
That is the challenge, I can say, Mr. Abdullah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ram. From the vocational point of view, Mohammed, what have you experienced through this pandemic, especially on the delivery of the skill set that are required by the industry?
Well, we have been in a big challenge to get the skill sets required for the students, because most of the training that we deliver, they are more practical than the theory part. So it has been quite a big challenge to get the students attending the class, face-to-face classes. We went through, downsizing the classrooms, number of people smaller so we can put them in a class. We went also online, providing technical solutions through online learning. We also provided all our courses online. We established also e-learning management systems for the student to access. So it's been quite a big challenge, especially as also student to come, because the nature of the training that we provide is not academical, it's all vocationally. And we also been part of the regulations also for us to allow students to coming in. It's been a big challenge for us. The programs that take 6 months also take 1 year, because we have to also extend the time for students to attend the classes. Also the acceptance of the students using the online systems has been very slow. You have scheduled a class for 20 students, only 5 come up. It's been quite a challenge. Also, our customers, our clients, acceptance of using, e-learning management systems wasn't very welcomed, to be honest, because they feel that there's a less of taking on from the lectures or classes. So we have been really struggling a lot through the pandemic. Also in business terms, also there was no new projects for us because everybody was in recovery modes and surviving modes.
But in general, oh, it is on. It is on, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, it is on, and there's a request to keep the mic closer to your mouth when you speak, because the online audience are having a bit of a challenge. Some are speaking close, some are speaking fast. So
Alhamdulillah, we are not that loud.
they want you to be a bit loud.
We will do. We'll try our best. So what I'm hearing here is there is a change on the skill set, and also there is an adjustment on the delivery of the supply one. Either it is from academia or it is from vocational. And there is a challenge is always there. There is even a resistance of change. It's always there.
Absolutely.
Even I do remember on the early days on starting this online meetings, myself, I had a bit of challenge of accepting not hearing and seeing the other party close to me in the same area. And it caused a lot of challenge. However, we alhamdulillah, we managed to get over it. So in the future-wise, how do you see what type of skill set there will come? I'm talking to you, Nasser, here. Since you've been around, or you've been in several places. One of them is strategic positions, and also BDO. Yesterday they have launched, or they had a big event yesterday of launching one of their, a delivery of it. So how do you see it? What kind of skill set will be required on the future, especially typically for the oil and gas?
So I think first of all, I would just like to emphasize the strategic collaboration between academia, research and development to make sure, our curriculum of today, that we build the future skill set which are needed by the industry. That is important because at the end of the day, how you create value through the industry. And are we investing today on the areas of research and development specific for the industry need? This is so much important. But also, let's be realistic. Avoid having the perception that robots will replace everything. And I tell you, my friend comes a wireline engineer. He knows exactly on technicality. We will still continue having the technical domain, but I expect digital will bring the efficiency on the ways how we do our work in a better way. We have got constraints, the budget constraints, the resources constraints, and so forth and so on. These are the challenges. We will face it, and we will continue to face it. How we manage it to bring that efficiency, digital technology can play a bigger role. Activities, like the routine activities, which does not require analytical thinking, advanced thinking, you can RPA through that automation. But in my opinion, today, maybe till when I retire, it will continue it, replacing a geologist with a robot, I don't think it will happen very easily, but the technology can bring an efficiency the way how, a geologist will look into the data. And currently, as Ram said, for many years we've been doing, activities looking from a physics point of view. And currently, if you use AI, I do AI to some extent as a developer, you're talking about data-driven innovation, identifying hidden inefficiencies which were not seen through the physics. And in doing so, we will continue it. And that skill set of physics and data-driven has to be embedded on the way how we work today. Now, a simple example. I take it two roles in when you develop an AI as an application, whether super AI or generic AI. I leave it to you guys the way how you take it. You have got more information than myself because I'm looking from a strategic point of view and what it. You need a developer, somebody who will develop the code based on the business insight. But also, you need somebody to assure what comes up really deliver what is needed by the business. And you could see it already. There is a domain which is needed as a developer, mostly on ICT, but also you need a geologist who really need to validate it. Is this giving me the right information? The combination, the hybrid of physics and data-driven is the future. Now, I understand the industry is pushing us to say you need more generic, general, I think the technical domain will continue it. Today, I was reading the newspaper, 2 days ago. The pandemic has pushed a lot of people who have lost job in oil and gas business. There's a transition of decarbonization, the energy efficiency, hydrogen, solar, and water. Most of the people now are moving into that direction to acquire those skill sets. And what we see is there's a vacuum on oil and gas business. Recruitment oil and gas business, BP, Shell are struggling today, and water. This transition has to be managed very well. It is a transformation journey, it's not a big bang. And when we take it, we need to take it very carefully, calculate our move, and we take step by step. But we need to move faster by learning of what we've done in the past.
Thank you. So again, just as a summary or recap of what we have said is technical jobs will stay. There is a requirement for it. Maybe the way that we used to do things will be changed due to the automation process. There is a need to ensure whatever being delivered, we have to have a kind of insurance mechanism that whatever being delivered as training or as an education-wise, academia or vocationally, is delivered to the right need of the industry.
Indeed. The business need.
Yes, business need. Yeah. I'll take it a bit further on this discussion with you, Nasser. I'm a father of 6. I have got 3 daughters and 3 boys. Now, we know that the population of Oman is higher in terms of youth. And if we take it as a percentage, female is higher percentage than a male. Will automation of the process will create a windows, especially with the culture-wise? Will that create more jobs for the females to acquire some of the technical? It's not, I'm not disrespecting their capability. It's more towards, sometimes we have got a culture restriction. And that is my point of view. So automation of the process, will that give, will that open an opportunities to see more females on the technical side, especially on the concession area?
So I think that's a good question. Let me go back to 1989, 88. Some of you maybe were not born at that period of time. Just bringing as a corporate memory to start explaining where I'm coming from. Those days when ATM started, where you can go and withdraw the money. I'm not sure Mohammed was around that time. There was a shift change and the pushback from the cashier, the tellers in the bank. And everybody was worried to say, am I going to lose my job? Everybody was worried, am I going to lose my job? Look at it. The business model of 1988 wouldn't have worked today. We've got more customers. People need money on the fly. I mean, the cash points, if you go sometimes the CDM, for people like Mohammed who has got more money, tend to deposit the money all the time. I go and withdraw. You see a queue of the people. Now, this is a paradigm shift. Our business model will change. There's a new skill set has been, elevated into these areas. And it's coming up. There is new ways of working where we see it. Now, this is a driver behind. We are here. It's not an option. It's a compulsory. We're here for the survival. For some of you, maybe they haven't even heard about it. Maybe Sheikh Abdullah may know a Kodak film. You remember the Kodak film? Some of us, we know. A Kodak film was a predominant in the whole of the, camera and film industry. Some of you young people, I don't even know, I don't think you know even what is Kodak. The first person who invented a digital camera was from Kodak. And what happened? They blocked him, and the reason is because we have invested billions of dollars to it. Kodak has gone, guys. It's not there anymore. For us to survive the dynamic of our industry, responding to the future, it has to be part of the ways of working today, and we include as a continuous improvement.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much for Mr. Abdullah and Mr. Nasser for this fantastic answer. I would like to share my experience in the gender inequality. That fusion is coming very closer and narrow down, and in fact, the automation is helping women to get the job. I can give an example. In the oil and gas industry, if you want to check the pipeline quality and in the desert, it is very difficult task for the girls to move around, but now it is done by the drones, which you can sit in the home, I mean this is the office, maybe in Muscat or even your mobile or laptop, anybody can do it. I mean, it's not a gender specific task now. So that creates more opportunity for women, especially in my perspective. Thank you.
Actually, I think if I may just add up, again, as I said, it's a more discussion than I ask. The reason I ask because of, will that have an impact on the gender and the gender percentage that we in Oman? Simply, I keep hearing that the future will change a lot and a lot of jobs will disappear. I agree. We all agree on this. Automation will happen. We all agree on this. But also it brings a lot of a good opportunity. Now, as Dr. Ram was saying, is we still some of the companies they still use the old school of inspecting the pipeline, where someone will go and inspect it visually. And because of the hardship of this job role, most of it is domained by male. Now with the new technology that is coming in, a lot of young girls, mashallah alayhim, they do it. And they are sitting in Muscat and they are inspecting a pipeline somewhere else. So with this new technology, it is opening up a lot of good opportunities for the youth, especially from a female side. And the reason I ask it, because sometimes there is a culture restriction. It's not because of the capability or the capacity of the youth, it's more towards the culture-wise. It will not allow them. Thank you for the enlightening. Mohammed, you want to have something?
Sheikh Abdullah,
Yeah.
before,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
the ladies on the table want to ask something.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
But before that, I just want to say something, like Amar is not here. We did about advertisement to recruit Omani people in our company. We had more than 1,500 applications. I'm not sure what's wrong with the men folk, like I'm a man and all of you there. The best of CVs were from the women. And of all the recruits are the women in our organization now. So I fear for myself and for you men folk there that the technology is taking away not the jobs, but the jobs of the men.
Yes.
And I want just to pass on the mic here to the ladies
Indeed.
here.
And if I keep hearing now also, it's always about competency. It's not about gender. It's he or she. To me, as an employer, I don't care. All what I'm looking for is a competent individual. And just tabbing up or adding up on what you have said, from my experience, female are more passionate of doing things. That is from my experience. I'm not being here racist or subjective, but from my experience. عذروني شباب عاد سمحونا. Yes.
Okay, my comment is to the same subject,
Yes.
where my personal view is the unintentional stereotypes of jobs. Like, I would ask you all to open Google image and type nurse. What would you find? Dominated by women, but we have male nurses. What if you typed mechanic? Well, we will find the greasy hands of a male. Well, the problem is with the stereotypes and with the change of mindset that we need and the culture change. There is also a comment that I would like to raise about why don't we change the whole curriculum or the whole spectrum of human resourcing. And I believe that we know our challenges, we know the solutions, and we know how to do it. But the question is, when are we going to do it? I believe that there are three important points. We need visionary leadership, where we need the power of decision makers to get the buy-in and believe in possibilities, that possibilities are possible. The second one is the will, and that is to believe that and also accept that change is not an option anymore. You have to do it. And the third point is courage. Courage to make mistakes, because we as humans, we cannot come up with a perfect solution unless we learn from our own mistakes. These are my points.
Thank you. Nasser, you want to add?
Yeah, I think that's really fantastic. And as I said, this is something huge, and it involves multiple stakeholders. Currently, if you look at it from an education point of view, the Minister of Education, Higher Education, but also you do have, like MTCIT, which is mostly mandated to look on a digital solution. And I think the vision is there. I have seen it because I sit in the board. I'm part of the team. But it takes some time to bring people together. And I have learned a lot in the past 30 years in the industry on a change management. In the areas, sometimes you communicate it and it's not understood. And believe me, the technical people like myself, when we talk to everybody, we think that they understand what we speak is. And in general, you look at it, it's not, they don't understand it. So I think that flexibility of communicating to the lowest level of people to understand and have a common objective is key for the success of this. But also, I think I would add another dimension, the fourth dimension is, the industry is evolving it. I mean, a simple example, if I give it to you, I read a lot. It's part of my research and development, look into these areas. Bangladesh, among the best developers in the world, they come from Bangladesh. And if I ask you guys, most of you, you may not even believe, because still there's mindset that they are low-skilled people and what it. That framework, the curriculum which has been developed, it does not require so much money. It is require brain power and visionary to move forward, has created that environment. The second one, which is evolving now, Vietnam. Vietnam is going to be one of the, like Singapore and South Korea. They have come up with, electrical car. I've got Tesla, so I know what is going on in that area. Almost same as Tesla, which is cheaper. And what is it changing it? It's not just an investment of money, it's the brain power. The visionaries who are there. Investors, they are there today to support it because we are moving into energy transition. Moving into energy transition, these will continue to be there. So definitely, I think it's good, but you need somebody to govern it. You need somebody to glue all the customer. You need somebody to communicate, speak the same language, and then we move on. But also equally important, I think the approach is you need to prototype small. If you move into a big bang, it will never work it. When you prototype small, it's successful, and you scale it fast moving forward. So that's where I'm just adding on what you've said it and complement what you've said.
Mohammed, you want to add? Because
I just want to add something very important. Based on the World Economic Forum just recently published reports, despite that we are worrying about technology taking over some jobs and so on, that is true, but they're really talking about very repetitive tasks, very low skills levels. So they're not talking about high level positions. So they estimate that technology will bring around 58 million jobs opportunity in the future using technology. So it's not that technology will take everything away. So there's an opportunity of addition jobs to be established within the technology. We know we are talking about artificial intelligence, which is fine, but artificial intelligence cannot do everything that the human skills does. Cannot do your context editing, cannot do it for photo editing, cannot do architectures. So those positions are still secured. If you're a good photographer, you're still there. If you're good at architectures, you're still there. So certain position cannot be replaced. And technology also needs people to run it, to monitor the technology. Technology cannot just function by itself. It needs engine behind it. The engine is a human being, the skills of human beings put into the technology. So it's a challenge. Of course, there will be, as Sheikh has said here, that the way we do things will be different. but it doesn't mean that technology will take everything away from us. It will be efficiency, it will be faster, it will be probably cost effective in the future, but technology is not cheap also. So, putting technology in any organizations won't be cheaper. It's a lot of money for investing in technology, despite that the return of investments is going to be ahead of time. So it's not a faster investment that you get a return faster. Technology also needs to be looked in maintenance, you need to look at the maintenance of the technology. They need engineers again to look at it. If you talk about information security analysis, also online, everything is online. Also, you need cybersecurity, it's very important. You cannot put everything online. Everybody can touch it. If anybody touches it, then you lose the business. So everything creates something on behind it. So technology is nice, but more opportunities coming. New skills will come. And I think the new generation, they have a good future.
Okay, I think, Dr. Ram, you want to add something?
Yeah, sorry. Sure. To address to your point, Ms. Hala, thank you very much for the point. And I would like to, because we are dealing with the young people in this college. In 2018, we started a course called BSc Computing, but it is for oil and gas pathway. BSc Computing, oil and gas pathway. It is not available in GCC anywhere. It's a unique program. Surprisingly, 70% of our students are women students. They are learning the skills of PLC, industrial data networks, SCADA, this kind of skills. Maybe in 2022, we will see a lot of graduates coming out with the skills. And this is about the women thing. And one more last point from me is, most of the why these questions are coming from women in our classrooms. Don't worry, they are not shy. They are having the courage, I would like to say. They are ready to take up the jobs. Thank you very much.
I mentioned earlier on about stakeholders. There is a change and it is happening. But one of the stakeholders goes also to the government. Now, to shift the mindset, as you mentioned, it requires a lot of work with the societies themselves. It requires a lot of work also for career guidance. Career guidance in terms of which path should I select as a parent, which path should I select as a student. So also the Ministry of Education has to be involved on this. So there is a role to be played. Parents-wise, also they need to be educated, and the mindset is changing dramatically more than you can imagine. There is a lot of automation processes happening, that is for sure. There is a lot of uncertainty as well, because what future will bring, you cannot predict. There is a rapid change on this. And I think, Nasser, you have mentioned that there is a need to change a bit of the curriculum. And there is a need of change of the training program. And perhaps the lady over there, she mentioned that why do we need to change? One of the reasons for change is you need to meet the demand in terms of the industry demand. And probably all of you know that the oil and gas industry does not include oil and gas companies. It includes majority of the service companies. So we have got aviation who are working for the oil and gas. We have got cementing companies. We have got catering. We have got hard facility maintenance. So if there is a change with the main demand, which is the operating companies, the rest automatically will change. So in this concept, anybody has got any question? So I don't bore you. Okay.
Maybe I can add one thing here is from my side, from a strategic point of view, is we want to create the workforce of the future. And we have got the brain power, I can tell you. The brain power is here. You guys were there. You're smarter than us who are sitting here. I don't mean maybe you're younger than me. Yeah. And I think the dynamic of the industry, the way how you guys, you're moving aggressively, you're moving in the right direction. Let's complement in that area. It's not just criticizing and put, negativity on it. I think you need to be helped by creating a framework as an enabler to support you to move forward. Now, the current challenges of the country is about unemployment. We know about it. It's about contribution to the GDP of the country. So we can raise the GDP, we can stimulate the market, we create more opportunities for you guys to get it. Areas like SMEs, the startups, and what really, this is the future where we're going at. This is a transformation journey. And I could tell you already certain area where I've been doing some research in Rotterdam, in Holland, 2020, they created 12,000 jobs through startups and what. Now, it does not mean all startups are very successfully. Their startup will fail, but you learn. And that's where agility, fail fast comes in place, and you continue to do it. It does not require a lot. But look at it from human capital management. Even if you fail, you have acquired the skill set, which is a unique skill set. And what? The future where we are moving it, that's my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion. It is not to say that I have to be recruited in Oman. Bigger fungus like, Microsoft, Facebook, they changed now with Meta, I think they call it the different names. They recruit people globally based on your skill set. It's not physical. I'm not interested to see physical. I'm interested to see what you have delivered, what you have created value in the organization. That is the future. Now the future is brighter, and the brightness comes from you guys. And for us, that, coaching, advanced coaching, we will continue to do it so we do not erode the skill set which we do have today. You need to pull it. You need to take that culture changes to drive this on your own by understanding the business needs and continue to do it. And this is mostly, I would say, is from a strategic point of view where that creation of job opportunity is not in Oman. You can be recruited anywhere in the global. And what you do, you bring money into the country. And that's why you raise the GDP of the country.
A question over there?
I have a last question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Yesterday we had presentations on future skills framework, and then we had presentations about study in Oman. And here we have a very strong panel. Why I say OPAL, Oman Society, you're working on the industry of oil and gas. At the same time, you have OPAL Star training members. I think you have 40 plus training institutes in your power. You're working with them. And then we have PDO here, which is having exemplary work. Yesterday we had Fatima Al-Mukhaini talk about her employees, and then she shocked us saying they're robots and they're handling robotic process automation and all that stuff. So you've got a lot of experience there, and NTI and Majan. My question here is how much time will it take for you all to work together? For example, the ministry, Fahala represents the ministry, your OPAL, the society, the power of society is humongous. Yesterday we had Dr. Salim Rizeki. The power of IT society is also humongous. I've seen that from the country I come from. Societies change everything. They control the industry. They control the government, in fact. So that's the power. My question here is how much time will it take for Muscat to become Glasgow? Because I'm quoting that because Dr. Fatin and I did MBA from Strathclyde and I've seen the city. You can create a lot of jobs in the education economy. And Oman has that. Dr. Abdullah is talking about Oman being so safe. It's a different experience, the language, the culture. People want to send their children here, parents want to send their children. How long will it take to integrate the government, the society, the exemplary companies like PDO, universities and institutes to kind of get that? Because why are we saying we don't have jobs when we can create hundreds and thousands of jobs in the education economy? I hope you can help me with that.
So maybe I will start, and then the tougher questions will go to the two guys nearby me. I think let's separate between long-term and short-term delivery. Long-term, you need that integration across, which will take some time because there are multiple stakeholders being involved. But also does not stop us to move forward. Like in PDO, we do have already upskilling and reskilling program, which I'm leading it, and I'm accountable to deliver that. There's nothing wrong having best practices as a pockets across the whole organization or across the country. I think there are opportunities than threat of having those, best practices. And when I look from an opportunity, I'm the person who always look from the positive point of view, is you might find something good within PDO. Why don't we make oil and gas industry as a standard? And if you can capture oil and gas industry, it's already huge into that area. Now, you could move into other areas of the business, but by pulling them as a bottom-up approach, then you get the buy-in than the top-down approach. Currently, I have been involved in this field for quite some time. I have seen a lot of strategy on the future skills and what. I met some of His Excellency, I can't name the names. They said, we are tired of strategy. We want to see what is on the ground. Let's move on. I think by moving on, well, we learn, we replicate, we scale it, and we move faster. That's why we can see the value which we created. So I said, you guys, you're doing a good job. Continue with the short term, delivering what you're doing it, while you understand and you open yourself on competitive intelligence or market intelligence to understand what is going globally. The future and the convergence will happen later. If we wait for the convergence before building up, it will never happen. That's how other countries, they have done it, and they've been successfully. We need to learn from them. By learning from them, there are things which maybe went not the way how they were anticipating or they were expecting it. It's part of the learning. And understanding those, incorporate it into your processes so you can accelerate the journey.
I think what you have raised is very important, and Nasser have raised also that sometimes we see that we have got a lot of strategy, but the implementation, when it will happen, can you hear me? Okay, when it will happen. And one of the challenges that it was identified through Tanfeed is there is a gap between the demand and the supply. And I was talking to Dr. Ram yesterday or last night, is we are spending a lot of, or we are investing a lot of money on the youth in terms of training and education. However, if someone who have graduated from a university, spending 4 or 5 years of his lifetime, when he join an industry, he will spend maybe 2 years to be retrained. So he's spending around 7 years, 6 to 7 years of his lifetime just in training. Why is this? Of course, one of the cause for this, one of the main cause for it is there is a gap between what is needed and what is provided. And it's not intentionally meant to be. However, because the industry doesn't talk to the supply. Plus, there is a lot of change. You cannot imagine, change is happening quite frequently. So the demand shape can be changed quite easily. So the best entity should identify the demand is the industry, because the industry knows the competency of whoever acquiring or whoever is accommodating that job role. So it should be identified by the industry. So the demand should identify it. And of course, you need to have a link, a continuous dialogue between the industry, the education, the government, the society. That is very important. And that is what's happening nowadays. And I'm saying it proudly. It's not because of I'm a full-time employed by OPAL, but what we have noticed through the years is, as an OPAL, and OPAL itself is representing the whole industry. We have got more than 400 companies as members. Our strength is coming from the industry. We as a team within OPAL, we are around 20, not 20, now we have 32 employees. That is all. However, our strength is coming from the industry. Anything needed from the industry, we do it. So we make it easier for academic. If they want any advice, they come to us. If the vocational needs a kind of device, they come to us. If there is a change on the demand, we know it and we react accordingly. And I think similar societies should be more towards working in the same approach. If you take the UK experience, it's the same, but they don't call it a society, they call it association. If you go even to India, they don't call it a society, they call it association. I do present the energy and mineral sector skill unit. However, that is in Oman. If you go to India, they call it Sector Skill Council. If you go to Germany, it's a Sector Skill Council. And it is in a similar principle where we as an industry, we're supposed to define the demand. And we're supposed to work with all stakeholders. And when I mentioned the stakeholders earlier on, and even during the conversation, is the career guidance, we're supposed to go towards schools, we're supposed to go to universities, where we talk about technical skills that is required. Sometimes there are some jobs that we cannot take Omanis, we cannot find Omanis who will stay on that job role. Simply, it's not because he is not willing to take that job role, because he hasn't got an awareness what is that job role is all about. If I ask you, what is NDT? How many of you knows NDT technician? What is NDT? Anybody knows what is NDT? It's a non-destructive testing technician. الفحص الغير إتلافي, if I'm not mistaken in Arabic. Non-destructive testing. Who do we take on such a similar job? It's mechanical, electrical, those who have got a diploma. And they are easy to be taken. And there is a career path on it. How many NDT technicians or NDT inspections, Omanis on the market? Quite few. Should I blame the youth? Should I blame the industry? Should I blame? Blaming will not work, but we have to work collectively to achieve what we need. I'm a believer, I'm a personal believer on the capability and the ability of the Omani youth. All what they need is a chance, they need a support, they need a coaching. And they will do not the impossible, they will do everything possible. And I'm not being here towards emotion. No, we have seen it, we have tested it. يعني ما شاء الله, Nasser, he has spent so many years. I wouldn't say the years because I don't want to show that you are so old. But we have got a lot of Omanis who are in a leadership, who have demonstrated that Omani can do. The only thing is we as an industry, we should take the lead on defining the demand and so on and so on and so on. Again, any further question?
I think thank you so much. We had a lovely panel, Abdullah, Nasser, Mohammed and Ramalingam, Doctor. It's been wonderful, and we see how we can have you all on our advisory committee at a national level, so we can start to work closely with the government, with societies like you, and the individuals as well. So thank you so much. If you want to say something, Sheikh Abdullah, in conclusion, please do that so we can move on to the next thing. Thank you.
It's a pleasure standing in here or sitting in front of you. And I know that the future is you. We present today, but the future is you, especially as a youth. Thank you all.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. I wouldn't say a chairman or a moderator more than I was part of it. Thank you, Nasser. Thank you, Mohammed, Dr. Ram. Thank you very much. If you want to say any further details.
I will just want to add one thing. If you look on the country that economic growth is going very fast, European country example, they have actually adapted different model of educations that we do here. Here, example, majority of our students, they go to college and university. 80% or 90% they go to university and college. While in European countries, 70% of the students go to the vocation training, because that's where they get hands-on. If they want to become electricians, they become electricians. If they become NDT, they become NDT. They get those qualifications direct from the vocation qualification institutions. Here in Oman in the past, actually MVQ, City and Guild certifications, these are all not acceptable basically by higher educations and Ministry of Labor. But now there's a study going on, hopefully by end of this year or beginning of the next year, these certification will be acceptable by the ministry. So students will go to our institute, another institute, they'll get City and Guild certification, they'll get MVQ certification, which is hands-on diploma. It will be equivalent to the degree of the university or college. So those encouraging is very, very important, because that's where the students have hands-on. When we say we don't have skills, we put students in the university for 5 years, and they come back to the vocation training, do another 2 years. While if they can do, foundation programs and do the 2 years with the vocations, they'll go direct to the jobs. So that's what I would like to share.
I think from my side, as Sheikh Abdullah was trying to gauge my age, I'm fine, which is good. I just want to give an inspiration statement. The future is brighter. There are a lot of challenges ahead of us. You guys are bright. You will be successful. Take these as challenges and opportunity to move forward than the blockers, which will limit your thinking. We talked about thinking out of the box. I think your dad also was referring, thinking complete box is not there. Take this opportunity, understand what is going on globally, what is going on in the region, and the challenges you take it is what builds the future of Oman. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
very
the
much.
wonderful panel. And as they say that now the women take over our jobs, so Amar will introduce the wonderful women coming in and they're going to take over our jobs because technology has enabled them. Over to you, Amar.
Shukran.